AEW, your time is now to really, really either flip it and reverse it, or I guess stand pat, or look. I don't think AEW is like in trouble of like going away or disappearing or whatever you want to say. I was like, look, I was like, I could be critical of AEW just like WWE, and look, I was like, I want to say for a good while, about like a year's worth, I didn't watch AEW. And I was like, I've always watched WWE, but I was like, when AEW popped on the scene, I was happy for them. Really like what they're doing and stuff like that. There's a couple of hair things that I didn't really bother to watch, bother to see, but that's because I didn't also enjoy it in the other company as well. And then I was like, then I was really on AEW, and I was like, oh man, I was like, they're doing great and stuff like that. And I'm not gonna lie, people of the fan base sort of like start driving me off just because I'm like, y'all being really critical and really acting a certain type of way and on things that I felt like weren't only like for WWE, like, you know, where it's just like, oh man, you know, like bringing in the people, hiring, getting all this talent and things like that, and I'm just like, okay, cool, but you sort of doing the same thing they was doing, and it's like, yeah, we're going to do better, and look. I was like, I mean, my thing was that I used to go with people that I'm on there on like threads and stuff, and that I'm like, it's just like a relationship. When you're in a relationship with somebody for 12 years, at some point it gets tiresome, it gets stale. You know what they're going to do. You get bored of it. And some things annoy you that didn't annoy you better before. And sometimes you're just like comfortable with it. And then some new hot thing comes through. And you're kind of like, ooh, what's that about? And you start checking that out. And you're like, oh man, this is cool, all this other stuff. And then you leave that one and you go for the new thing. And then when you're in the new thing, you're like, yo, they do all this stuff better than you, blah, blah. And then after a while, kind of like, yeah, but you keep on saying like how this is better than the old thing. You're not appreciating this new thing. That's one. But also, it's that, yeah, but there's no track record. There's no history here. So everything looks great. Everything is great. That honeymoon phase, everybody talks about, blah, blah, blah. And then after a while, it's kind of like, oh, you're just pretty much, it's the same thing no matter what. Okay, cool. And then maybe you sort of settle, you could be like, okay, cool. Well, I don't already made my decision. I'm going to just enjoy it. I know this relationship is a little different than wrestling, whatever. Until the old thing is a little different. And it's like, oh, I didn't know that existed. I didn't know how that was. It wasn't that bad when we was together and all. What you doing? No, you're bad. I ain't. No, you's ugly. You ugly. That's what you is. I'm gonna stay over here. Anyway, all that to say is, I went off into a rant tangent, but my point was going to be that AEW had sort of like a lot of downs, and I was like, the matches great. I was like, always are. I was like, you can never really poo-poo on the matches. It's really the storytelling, why this match happening and stuff like that, which they haven't really been in, or it's been boring, or it's been like, meh. Like, you know, I was like I said, like the stuff with Adam Cole and stuff. I mean, not Adam Cole, Adam Copeland. Not for me. I was like, it's not doing anything for me. Then I look at some of the people on the roster, and I'm like, why are they on the show? Why aren't they doing anything? Like, why aren't they? There's that. But my point was going to be that even though things were looking like meh, down, whatever, and they're looking really sort of bleak now, I guess, with everything. My thing is that I think right now is a good chance for AEW to get this shit right, or whatever you think it is. And the reason I say that is because you got the MJF stuff with the devil and his whole title reigns and Samoa Joe and all that other stuff. So that's taken care of. Your main star and belt is sort of being taken care of. Now they got to land what it is for that story of the devil. They really got to stick it. But you at least got that locked down to where you don't have to worry about that, and that's your main thing. That's cool. Now, what the other stuff in it that I think, while you try to figure out, you try to get, can at least be workshopped around, or won't be able to really be seen, or you could have a chance to figure out what you're going to do, is because of this Continental Classic. The matches that you're going to put on here with the participants in it are going to be good. They're going to be great. I was like, for instance, I was like, the Moxley Jay Lethal match, that was really good. The Rush and Briscoe to the Swerve and Jay White, that was like, that was great. I was like, you got big ass Brody King in this whole. Bryan Danielson had to be involved. Daniel Garcia is a really good fighter. Andrade had a shot. Yeah, I'm saying you got a lot of people to create a lot of creative matches. This is going to be I think they had 2 matches on Collision. They had 3 on Dynamite. So I'm like, you could at least do this for at least 2 weeks to me. Which, I mean, that's a good solid month, nearly. To figure all this, I was like, and you've seen in between that time they were able to do like some other matches. So what I'm saying is that I'm like, because TV time will be a little bit more limited, you could do like little things. Maybe I was like, you can have a match here that's sort of just like, first of all, I was like, you can give the women a lot of the spots because the men are going to be occupied in this tournament. So therefore, it's like, guess what? The only people that you're really going to really be able to have time to shine is them. So therefore, you're going to have some space available. So either until you figure out, like, obviously out like Warlow doing his thing, you got Starks and Cat, Bill or whatever. Like you already got people that still sort of doing things, but let the women sort of be in these spots to fill up. I was like, it fills up time, but it also does no harm. It gets them on there. I was like, you got enough women that could be compelling to where it's not like you just like throwing women in there just to throw women in there for that section of people. But I think because you're going to be telling stories with the wrestling, and you got the story of being the triple crown champion or whatever it is, that's when you can start plugging in other stuff in here and there. The ones that maybe you make somebody mad that they didn't get into the tournament. Like Keith Lee's mad he's not in the tournament. He's like, how come I'm not in the tournament? I was like, I was like, I was gonna say Chris Jericho and Kenny, but no, they're not. I mean, they're not in the tournament, but I was like, that's not a good, or whatever like that. So I'm like, you can do other people that don't have, I was like, like Orange Cassidy got the title, so his stuff is around the title. You don't, same thing with Hook. He's a Aura guy. Do something with the ones that don't have belts or have nothing going on. I was like, that's the ones you could sort of plug or being mad that they're not in this whole thing and stuff. Where they just like maybe go on a rampage. Like I know they do sort of doing that with Warlow right now, but I was like, I don't know. I'm just trying to like, of course I was like, I'm not able to workshop everything out, but because I was like, technically they got 3 shows, but it's not like it's like 9 hours or something like that. However, like much WWE got, but I think this is a really good time for it. It could cover up a lot while you're trying to be like, okay, cool, draw on board. When we come out of the tournament, we're going to hit the ground running with this. And I know that World's End is right around the corner too by the time this is over. Which, I mean, you probably need to set up some other stuff between that. But, yeah, that's why I think the time is now for AEW to get some things on board. I was like, some other stuff that I was like, that people have problem with, like AEW. To me, that's a little bit different. That's a little bit more long haul. I think they can change it. I was like, they could do stuff immediately with the creative and wrestlers a lot more immediately than problems of like them bringing in the old people or whatever like that. And to me, some of that just really, I think that could be taken care of if you get your other people like Keith Lee and I like to me, I was saying in my Dynamite review that Dante, I was like him coming back off his stuff. I was like the crowd. I was like the crowd behind him, and they're going to be behind him. See him at the babyface. He's a high flyer anyway, but you know to see him at the babyface. But after that injury, I'm like, yo, you really could like use this momentum to really make him into something. I don't know what it would be, but you can use it to make him into something. I was like, and to me, like I said, the old characters can be resolved if you have young characters or certain characters already being established or doing stuff, and the old character just in it instead of being it. That's sort of the problem with some of these things. You know, Powerhouse Hobbs making him a crazy threat. You know, like where like you know, like he's another person that wants MJF. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. That this is AEW's turn now. Time now. Do something while you got MJF story and the classic going on to weed out other stuff and to focus on other things, because I feel like that will put enough shade to where you don't see everything else that's going on. At least for right now. It'll buy you time to, especially with everything that's going on in the other company. But anyway, that's just, I was like, I didn't really get, I was like, I don't really know any like suggestions or whatever. I was just thinking of what you could use to come up with suggestions. I was like, to solve the problem, but even though I don't have the equation fully. But anyway, that's my video. If you like it, I appreciate it. What are your thoughts? What are your suggestions? What do you think should happen? Do you think they should do that? And what they should do in combination with that as well too? Hey, just let me know. But other than that, see you for more AEW stuff.